Hey everyone, what's going on? Ash and Rima here from MEOdyssey, and today, a little later than planned, we will be looking at the Exploration and Discovery gameplay trailer, which is Gameplay Series Part 3, and just having a look and see what is involved in it, and basically seeing if there's anything that anyone's missed on the first viewing when it came out at the end of last week. So, as per normal, Rima's had a look and made some notes, and I'm going to say personally that this was actually my favourite one of the gameplay series so far, because for me this is what basically Mass Effect and space nerdism is all about. It's all about the exploration and discovery of everything. I don't know about you, Rima.
Yeah, no, this was definitely my favourite out of the gameplay series, and if not, it's one of my favourite things they've actually released in general, because you're right, it's more focused on like the planet and the exploration and all the things that we love enjoy playing with Mass Effect, so yeah.
So it won't be the video won't be too long. It's just going to be us discussing the points that Rima's kind of written down as per normal, and then just summing up at the end. So Rima.
Yeah. So the video is pretty standard. There's nothing in it that I thought, oh my god, like, oh, we didn't know that already. It's at this point now, everything we're seeing is stuff that we've already established through other content, things like that. So it's just kind of getting to see things that we've probably heard about. So one of the things we got to see that we've heard a lot about is the galaxy map, which was kind of early on in the video, about 37 seconds in. And the fact that it's like, we know when they were talking about the fact that you can see everything on around the Tempest and it's all basically out there.
Yeah.
This is such a good, like, I could imagine in my head, but then when you actually get to see it's actually out there.
Well, yeah, this is it. This was something I was trying to get across in my hands-on video, the original one, and it's so hard to try and put something across when nothing had been released at that point that could actually show you it. And I was just like, oh, it's such a cool little thing that everyone needs to see, and now finally people can see it. And like when you're in the kind of meeting area and you look down the entirety of the ship, you can see the outside of the ship going all the way down as well. That was very cool. So I really like that, like kind of very little like aesthetic as well.
Yeah, and it's the idea that all these like physical planetary bodies and the black holes and the asteroid and things are just like outside the hull. They're right there for you to see, and you don't feel like you're just in like another closed environment. So that was really nice to visually see. Also in the galaxy map, when you actually select individual planets or like bodies, they're 3D models, much like Mass Effect 2 and 3, but you actually can't. I want to ask you, because in the video it seems to look like you can rotate them. Can you rotate them?
You can indeed, yes.
Because I know you can rotate them in Mass Effect 2 and 3, but not in the way that you can rotate these ones. Like, you can actually, like, inspect them in a way. It's way more detailed. Then they do state that there's over 100 planets to discover, but a handful of planets to actually go and land on and kind of, like, explore. So that's quite interesting. That they are, obviously, there's not going to be a huge amount of planets that you can actually go and, like, walk about on.
I think it's dependent on what people's understanding of handful is. For me, I only got to land on 3 in total, I think. But again, I played a very small chunk of the game, because they did show it in this video, and I said it again in the original video, that the initial tease of the galaxy map that we'd seen before was only like 7 systems, but there are actually like a lot more systems to discover, which I saw when I played it. But now they've actually confirmed that, you know, you've got a lot more little circles and systems you can go off and discover. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that a handful will be between like 7 and 10. So that'll be right. But if it was like 4 or 5, then that'd be slightly disappointing. So, but we'll have to wait and see.
And then they kind of focus on, is it Aladdin? Aladdin, sorry. That seems to be the planet that's been focused on most of the promotional content. I'm guessing it's a planet that's quite early on in the game as well. And that's that desert planet with the, I want to call them the weird pink cherry blossom trees, but they're not cherry blossom trees, you know.
They look very similar though.
They look very similar.
Yeah.
And that's a planet that apparently the Krogans have settled on as well. And there's a quote that the Krogans don't trust anyone from the initiative, the least off, which is the Pathfinder. So the Krogans are continuing the tradition from Mass Effect 2 of like not really trusting anyone. So
they're salty.
All the Krogan love, yeah. Well, obviously they've not heard about the genophage being cured or whatever like that, or presumably being cured in Mass Effect 3, so they're going to hate everyone at this point. And then you can also have Sam point out important locations to you about 1:44 into the video. And the interesting part of that is it's almost like you were wearing like binoculars and it picks out little locations for you, like he's scouting, which there's a few things it reminds me of. There's like, most open world games have this thing where like you'll discover something where like your point of interest on the map will pop up. So it's kind of nice that they are kind of like not just aimlessly wandering, but they're actually giving you locations for the story. And I guess once you go to the other mission points, you can get more locations as well as you go. So that's quite cool. Also, you get to see a look at the planetary map, so the map for the area, and it does have a Dragon Age Inquisition look to it, where it's an expansive area with little markers on it, but there is a legend at the top that I noticed, so you can kind of probably refine what you're looking for, which was a bit better, because I think the Dragon Age Inquisition one, as good as it was, everything's everywhere, so you have to just like search on the map. This one kind of narrows things down for you. It does seem like the idea is, in this planet specifically, is that you're going to be looking to gain allegiance with the Krogan by doing various missions. So it seems to be that that's the main point of this story mission. And it seems also that they kind of talk about that each planet has viability, and the more things you do, the more exploration you do, that increases the general viability of the planet. And the aim is to kind of get an outpost on that planet, and you need to get at least, what, 40%, I think the video states, before you can actually build an outpost or a settlement on that planet. And increasing viability does two things: getting you that outpost and developing the Nexus more, which is obviously the main goal of the Andromeda Initiative, is to build up that Nexus, which is your main headquarters for the Andromeda Initiative. So the exploring and it's trying to encourage you to do as much as you can and explore as much as you can and get the most you can out of these planets before you move on, giving 40% that mission marker before you can do anything. So I'm guessing 40% will be your mission, your story missions on that planet. The more you do to get to 100%, the better. So I know me, I'll be ending up on that planet for like hours.
Oh yeah, we'll be obsessing and trying to get to 100% essentially. So yeah.
And it should be also kind of stated that upgrading the Nexus not only gets to visually see the Nexus getting upgraded, it allows you to it's almost like there's just like a RTS element to it. So the more you upgrade the Nexus, the more opportunity you have to awake like other crew members who are in the cryopod.
Yeah,
so you've got
I found that
yeah.
really interesting, because I didn't think at any point that was going to be a thing.
It's really strategic. So
Yeah.
you can pick either scientific, military, or merchant crew members, and the ones you pick will give you different abilities or bonuses when you go on world or keep exploring. So if you choose more science, I'm assuming you can do more crafting and more scientific, like scanning abilities, things like that. Military will probably upgrade your weapons. So gaining the viability seems to be very vital for you to actually do extra things that help improve the character as well. So I was not expecting that to be a part of the game, so you have to kind of be a bit more strategic, I think, of what you're choosing. And the more you do, the more likely you're going to be able to unlock all the crew members up, which is interesting. There's also the fact that, this is unrelated, the Pathfinder and the Nomad have their own life support. I didn't realise that the Nomad had its own life support as well. So most of the planets, or some of the planets, will have planet-wide hazards, or they'll have localised hazards, and not only will your Pathfinder kind of deteriorate as you're walking around, but so will the Nomad, and going to the forward stations will kind of revive you or restore you. So I didn't realise that you couldn't just roam around in Nomad forever. You have to you're kind of guided to go to the forward stations so that you can actually, not die.
Basically and simply,
pretty
just
much.
don't die. Yeah.
And the forward stations are basically your like little campsites, I would say. They allow you to bring down more weapons, bring down the Nomad if it gets destroyed, other little things, and restore your damage. So they're very important for you to progress. And I also guess they're fast travel points as well, I'm assuming.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially. And that is pretty much it, what I gathered from the video that I thought was important. There is more information on crafting. I know that the Mass Effect website has information on the video, but there's actually extra information on that video in the actual description that describes more like crafting, what augmentation is, things like that. So if anyone's interested, we'll link that in the description below if you want to go read that as well.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below. Sorry this has been a little bit delayed. We had a few other videos that were coming out at the end of last week. And as always, you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again very soon.